Hi guys, Jared here with Day Traders FX. Hopefully you guys had a great weekend and you're ready for another week at the markets. Quick little reminder, since we are at the beginning of the week, this is always a good time to get a free trial to our trading group. So I always like to give everyone a heads up at the beginning of the week about this. Remember, if you go to daytradersfx.com and you just click on join the group, it'll give you a little bit of a description of what you get. You can click right here to sign up or in the upper corner as well from anywhere in the site. And both of them will take you to a free 5-day trial. So you don't get billed for 5 days, then it's all the details and everything are in here, but it'll tell you what you get, daily videos and live sessions and so on. So anyways, that's there. If you have any questions, let me know. All right, let's get right to the markets. We had a little bit of an interesting day today in the markets. Gold sank like crazy, but everything else rallied, which is kind of interesting. Oil is actually kind of flat for the day, but the Dow ended up closing about 95 points in the positive here. We saw the S&P closing about 11 points up. Just overall, good day in the markets, but it didn't necessarily reflect so much on the charts. We had a couple of announcements today, which were retail sales and some Bank of Canada news. Just a quick little look at this entire week. We had a pretty quiet week as far as news went last week and the week before actually. So now we've got a pretty good week worth of news. You can see as far as US dollar stuff, core CPI coming out on Tuesday. We had retail sales today, not to mention CPI for UK, the German zoo, that's a big one. And then we have unemployment numbers and meeting minutes for the UK coming on Wednesday, which is pretty good. Then we have our EU Economic Summit. We have retail sales for the UK, also a big mover. Unemployment claims and the Philly Fed Index for the US, good movers. And then on Friday, to finish everything off, we have Canadian core CPI and US existing home sales. So pretty good list of stuff on coming up. Okay, let's get to the euro dollar real quick here. The euro dollar has been kind of a beast lately. You can see that here's our 4-hour chart. Besides this nice little run up and that nice little run down, for the past 3 or 4 weeks, it's just been very, very sideways and very choppy. We've been doing our best to trade off of our crucial levels like 128, 30, 40 area, trading off 129.00, always looking for that, 129.50. There's no coincidence that we see that the daily pivot the last couple of days has been at the daily pivot yesterday was or excuse me, Friday actually was at 129.00. We never got quite down to it. Then we saw that dip at the open of the market down to 129.00, and now the daily pivot's at 129.50, which again is a crucial level, and here we are kind of struggling at that level once again. So it's kind of a mess. I'm not ultra excited to trade the euro right this moment. This trend line that you see on here is this guy right here, and then you can see these channels right here, which come from the weekly chart, which to me makes this euro look a little more bearish than bullish, like we're at the top of the channel and we're having a heck of a time getting any higher. But a couple of things to look at is if we look at kind of the recent candles and so on, if we get a little bit of a positive push on this euro dollar, we had a nice low on this, again, 128, just above 128.00. And then if we get a positive close on this guy, we may end up with a nice reversal candle to be able to take this pair higher, but so far it's looking pretty flat for the moment. But again, euro dollar, just be careful. Above 129.50 is kind of interesting, but really above 130 is more interesting and safer, I think. And so if we get another attempt at 129.00, I like that. I think if it stays below 130, then we have a very good chance of getting back down to that 127.50 area. It's just the euro dollar is kind of a mess right now, and I'm trying to be really careful with it. Short-term trades, you can see some nice consolidation here around 129.35, probably an easy trade into 129.00 once again. On the upside, 129.50, still struggling there. We may have a run into about 129.90, but overall, I think the euro dollar is a definite kind of wait and see. Pound dollar, on the other hand, is looking pretty good. It's been pound dollar again. This is a 4-hour chart. We've seen weeks and weeks of just choppiness with a nice little move there and then chop, chop, chop. But we are staying nice. So you can see this positive candle right here came down and tested 160.50 and wasn't able to really get below that. So we had a nice kind of hold and a rejection off 160.50, which you can see right here. And overall, the pound dollar is looking pretty good. It's consolidating below the 200-day, or at the 200-day moving average, actually. And it looks like we may get a little bit of a descending trendline breakout right here and a run into the next level of resistance, which is around the 161.35 area. So it's just kind of all these zones that I'm watching. Back below 160.50, it turns a bit bearish and gives us a run into, again, back into the 160 mark. So a lot of chop. The pairs have really been quite choppy the last couple of weeks, and so we're just trying to get the best gauge of movement here. So again, look for a little short-term run above these highs and above this trend line. Otherwise, watch for a break below 160.50. Here's something to look at. 102.30 is a definite point of interest for me. Looking at the low, from the low to the high of the last couple of days, we see that we've got some interesting fib levels, 50% fibs down here around 101.20. We're currently sitting about 101.87-ish. But we have a very nice reversal candle right here. This is a big rejection off that high, and it's been trickling down since. So here's the two things I'm looking for in the euro yen. If we get a break above 102.30, bullish, and I think we've got some nice 30 to 50 pip run up from there. If we get back below about 101.80, which it looks like it's trying to actually do, then we start to put into scope some of these support levels on the fibs, 101.50, 101.20, and ultimately 101.100. I think are going to be all great levels to watch for and good profit targets. So again, below about 101.80, next stop about 101.50, and then 101.20 from there. So watch those movements, look for that action, and be ready for that. Again, bullish above 102.30, and we should have a nice little run there. But again, the euro yen is holding very well, and we've had some rejections off the 101.100 area, so it looks like it's holding. It made a break out of that channel, but it's right back inside of it, so it's just kind of solidifying that whole level as being pretty important. Aussie dollar has been chop and chop. Here's something just to point out quickly on the Aussie dollar. Here's a nice little 4-hour head and shoulders pattern. We had a nice little trendline break right here, and it broke out, especially at the open of the market right here. It dipped down nicely, and then it's recovered everything. So here's kind of the top of the shoulders of this head and shoulders pattern, which is around 102.50, and it's sitting right at that. If it breaks above this, that pretty much invalidates our head and shoulders pattern, but don't be fooled by just a little bit of a push above, because this can easily still come back down and just complete that second shoulder and really start to head down and break some of these lows. So just keep an eye on 102.50. That's going to be important. Nicely above that, we should get a run into these highs here, which is around 102.85, and then up into some of these stronger levels of resistance, which are around 103.25 and so on. Otherwise, this thing could be headed down a bit more. So watch for reversal candles on 1 and 4 hour charts and look for opportunities to, buy above, sell below kind of a thing. So just keep an eye on that. Something quickly to note, gold has started to tank, and this is what has made me not ultra comfortable about a lot of the dollar longs that I've been looking at is because gold really started to drop right there, and you can see that gold has just come down very nicely. This is our channel from Friday, and we talked about the break above and below that, and you can see that we got that break, but in a major way. Now we have a big pin bar on gold right here, big reversal on gold. And so this could be something that turns it around, but we've got to keep an eye on this big breakout here because of something very important. There's consolidation and there's some strength right here at the 102, at the 17 kind of 25, 26 area. But we're also sitting right at the 23% fib. From this low to this high, we're right at that 23% fib. If we make a break, if we open below that level on this daily chart, then I fully expect it to make it down to about 1693, which is our 38% fib. So we've got a big space there to fill if we open below the 23, which currently sits at about 1732. So just keep that in mind. But we do have a big 4-hour pin bar, big 4-hour reversal right here. And so that should really start to take the pair back up. As far as the rest of them go, Aussie yen, just a choppy mess. I am not really too interested in anything happening here. And pound yen did have a little bit of interest as well, but we've also got a nice reversal candle on the pound yen as we did on the euro yen. So these are both going to be levels to watch for. Watch these highs and trade against these highs as well. Pound yen right now is currently about 25 pips off that high, and the high currently sits at 126, just about 126.70. So trade against this level and look for some breaks and some runs back in the other direction. Likewise, a break above this. That's a very, very, very similar on the pound yen and the euro yen. So look at the breaks of those reversal candles right there on the 1 hour chart and see if we can get some opportunities out of that. And we'll just kind of be looking and watching everything else and seeing where it all goes. But more information coming on Twitter and in the chat. So best of luck, guys, and I will see you in the chat.